Prior to the establishment of SEAFDEC, the total production from the fishery sector in Southeast Asia was around 5 million metric tons a year, sharing approximately 9% of global fishery production. During such period, the region was faced with the urgent need of increasing food production in view of the region's increasing population. In December of 1966, Tokyo, Japan would become the site of a historical proposition designed to address the developing food situation in the region. During the Conference on Agricultural Development in Southeast Asia, the countries of Singapore and Thailand proposed the establishment of an institution that would become the Southeast Asian Fisheries Development Center, or SEAFDEC. SEAFDEC was therefore established with a mission to promote, enhance, and manage fisheries development in the Southeast Asian region. An agreement was signed by Japan, Singapore, and Thailand on the 28th of December 1967, followed by the Philippines, Malaysia, and Vietnam in January of 1968. SEAFDEC originally comprised two technical departments. The Training Department, or TD, hosted by the government of Thailand and Samut Prakan, was set up to develop modern fishing technologies for better utilization of marine resources. And the Marine Fisheries Research Department, or MFRD, hosted by the government of Singapore at Changi Point, was designed to explore the region's marine fishery resources. To support the operation of the two departments, the government of Japan in 1969 granted the trawler-type MV Paknam to TD and the MV Changi to MFRD. The two vessels facilitated the conduct of marine capture fisheries training and oceanographic research by SEAFDEC. Backed by the facilities provided by the respective hosts, SEAFDEC spearheaded the development of modern fishing technologies for marine fishery resources and exploration of fishing grounds of the region. In 1973, SEAFDEC embarked into a new area, establishing the Aquaculture Department, or AQD, in the Philippines. Advances in aquaculture technologies in the region had been made possible through the pioneering works of AQD, including development of marine shrimp culture technologies, expanding to cover fishes, shrimps, crabs, mollusks, and seaweeds. By supporting good aquaculture practices and effective management of aquatic resources, AQD also promotes the advancement of rural development and the alleviation of poverty. In the early 1980s, a need for post-harvest processing technologies and food safety emerged, so MFRD introduced to the region technologies on the production of several fishery products, including surimi. By making use of fisheries' low-value catch as raw materials, the surimi-related industry has been producing major fishery products of Southeast Asia. In 1978, SEAFDEC published its first fisheries statistical bulletin, providing much-needed statistics data that serve as a basis for fisheries management. In 1980, the Japanese government granted SEAFDEC another vessel, the purse-seiner type MV Plateau, to enhance the marine fisheries research and training of TD. The mid-1980s saw the region's fisheries becoming much more advanced, so TD refocused its vision from promoting productive fisheries to sustainable fisheries development. TD's training courses included conservative and selective fishing technologies and good practices on fisheries management. Many fishing-friendly devices were introduced and promoted, such as the Juveniles and Trash Fish Excluder Devices, or JTEDs, and Turtle Excluder Devices, or TEDs. In 1992, the government of Japan granted another multi-purpose tuna purse-seiner type vessel to SEAFDEC, the MV SEAFDEC. that allowed SEAFDEC to conduct its first oceanographic and marine resource explorations in the South China Sea. In the same year, a new technical department was established in Malaysia, the Marine Fishery Resources Development and Management Department, or MFR-DMD, enabling SEAFDEC to carry out activities on conservation and management of the fishery resources, especially the commercially exploited resources, as well as species under international concern, such as marine turtles, sharks, and rays. 1998 saw a new era begin for SEAFDEC with the adoption of its revised strategic plan, allowing the organization to focus on policy-related issues, while collaboration with the ASEAN led to the establishment of the ASEAN SEAFDEC Fisheries Consultative Group, or FCG mechanism. At this time, SEAFDEC developed policy guidance that aimed to regionalize the FAO Code of Conduct for Responsible Fisheries, or CCRF, to ensure its adoption for the benefit of the Southeast Asian countries. Recognizing the impact of such effort, FAO granted to SEAFDEC the Margarita Lizárraga Medal Award for the biennium 2006 through 2007. In the early 2000s, SEAFDEC played a very important role in the development of regional fisheries policy frameworks by organizing the ASEAN SEAFDEC Conference on Sustainable Fisheries for Food Security in the New Millennium, resulting in the adoption of the Resolution and Plan of Action on Sustainable Fisheries for Food Security for the ASEAN region. Since the mid-1990s, the other ASEAN member states, namely Vietnam, Brunei Darussalam, Myanmar, Indonesia, Cambodia, and Laos PDR, have joined SEAFDEC as members, culminating with all 10 ASEAN member states joining by 2003. Also in 2003, the government of Japan granted to SEAFDEC another research vessel, the multi-purpose and trawler type MV SEAFDEC-2. Since then, the MV SEAFDEC-2 has been mobilized to carry out research surveys and training activities in SEAFDEC member countries, specifically collaborative resources surveys in the Gulf of Thailand, Andaman Sea, and Sulu-Sulawesi Seas. In 2007, the cooperation between ASEAN and SEAFDEC was formalized with the signing of the Letter of Understanding on the ASEAN SEAFDEC Strategic Partnership, or ASSP, under which SEAFDEC serves as technical arm of the ASEAN in implementation of fisheries programs and projects in the Southeast Asian region. The close cooperation between ASEAN and SEAFDEC led to the conduct of another ASEAN SEAFDEC conference in 2011, which came up with an updated regional policy framework, further enabling sustainable fisheries development of the ASEAN. In 2014, Indonesia hosted the establishment of the latest SEAFDEC department, the Inland Fishery Resources Development and Management Department, or IFR-DMD, which now brought together all disciplines of fisheries under SEAFDEC's purview, serving a very important subsector which especially affects the lives of those living in rural communities. 50 years after the establishment of SEAFDEC, the region's fisheries production has increased from 5 million to 42 million metric tons annually, sharing nearly 22% of global fisheries production. Now celebrating their golden anniversary, SEAFDEC and its member countries have leaped giant strides forward with strengthened regional cooperation for the sustainable development of fisheries and the integration of fisheries in the ASEAN economic community. This is with the view of ensuring food security, addressing emerging issues and challenges, promoting development stability, and delivering more benefits to people in the Southeast Asian region.